What's up guys, welcome back to Spare Change. Today we've got 1992's Bram Stoker's Dracula on 4K Blu-ray. You've probably already seen it, so I'm just gonna go over the video and audio quality. But first, let's do this unboxing. Now for some tech specs. The film was shot on 35mm. It has a 4K DI. Runtime is 128 minutes. It's rated R. Aspect ratio is 185:1. So if you're watching on a TV, you'll get a full screen image. This film was originally released in 1992, so it was shot on film. And as you may expect, there's gonna be a ton of film grain throughout. So if you hate grain, you'll most likely hate this one too. Now, if you're coming from the Cinema Series Blu-ray, you may have a hard time finding much of an increase in resolution. Close-up shots have a small amount more detail, but you may have a hard time noticing on anything smaller than a 75 or possibly 65-inch display. I did notice some better textures on the castle walls in Chapter 3, and in Chapter 6, if you check out the detail on the hedges, they're noticeably sharper than on the regular Blu-ray. The use of HDR here expands the color palette some and gives color a bit more pop. And seeing how much of the film is shot in low-lit environments, contrast and some lower level detail is more evident. Any scene that takes place in Dracula's castle has more shadow detail on the darker parts of the screen, whereas in the regular Blu-ray, the details tended to blend in with the background. At the end of Chapter 8, I did notice some mild banding in the night sky on the regular Blu-ray. On the 4K disc, it's pretty much gone. The HDR here is subtle in its usage, but effectively used to tighten and refine the already good Blu-ray. Audio in this is the same Atmos mix found on the Cinema Series disc, and I found it's pretty good. It isn't huge and dynamic sounding like more recent movies, but you'll find the mix complements the visual feel with an ominous and eerie soundtrack. In Chapter 2, there's a scene where there's a fly buzzing around the upper right side of the screen, and in a properly set up system, it sounds like it's buzzing right in your ear. Chapter 3 has an abundance of things crawling around your room, with weird moans and groans and whispers from all the speakers. It's subtle ambiance that really define this mix. The low-end bass response is somewhat anemic, but there isn't much where low-end bass is really needed. The musical score was detailed and had good space, and dialogue never had any issues. So overall for sound, I'd have to go with an 8. There was always something happening in all speakers, and it's the subtleties that really enhance the viewing experience. Now, because of the age of this film, I found this to be the best it probably will ever look, so I'm gonna have to give it an 8 for video. It isn't as sharp, and the HDR isn't as dramatic a difference as in the professional 4K disc. And as someone who enjoys the look of actual film, I think it's worth a buy, especially if you're a fan of the movie. But if you like razor sharp 4K images, I wouldn't go near it if I were you. If you want to pick up this film, I left a link in the description down below, and along with the associated gear I used for this review. If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. Check out our Patreon page, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And we'll see you guys again in the next video.